I've never walked alone. No. 'Cause you're faithful to the end and closer than a friend, and your love will never fail. In every season you are there. Faithful.
You want to talk about Sunday?
Sure, let's talk about Sunday.
And I don't mean like the other day Sunday. I mean like let's unpack and let's go back years and talk about Sundays, because I have to say I find it humorous. Do you know Sundays today are just like Sundays when we were kids? I still see mamas yanking their kids out of their cars mad as fire, and then get in the church and be like, "Good morning. How are you?"
It's just wonderful to see you. That's
We
such a
are
blessing.
We are doing great this morning. Everybody's great. And I get so tickled. I mean, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of times I yank my husband out of the car on Sunday mornings because he ain't behaved. And we get up in the church and I'm mad as fire. And I'm like, "Good morning." Do you remember being a kid and just as a preacher's kid and Sunday mornings being chaos?
Complete chaos.
Like,
Yes.
I think people think preachers' houses are like so like we wake up and Christian music is playing and, like little birds are getting our clothes and laying them out and stuff, I bet
We're
people have
polishing our
this.
little halos.
Yeah, and, got our little wings all. Oh my gosh, it's feral. Like, a preacher's house is just as feral as everybody else's house on Sunday morning. I mean, and probably worse. Probably worse, because it's the glass house, and so I can remember mama wanting us to go to church and look not feral. And
Right.
I'm like rolling in the dirt and taking the lace off my socks. And I can remember her fixing my hair and then me like running my hands through, which I've never had a lot of hair in my whole life, but running my hands through it. I'm walking into Sunday school looking ratchet. And I know she probably thought, "Well, I tried, Lord, I tried with this one."
So you're the reason why, because of my curly hair, which did its own thing to begin with, because your hair looked like that. I was so concerned with mine being in place and every strand put down and every curl plastered to my head, because you were the one that was revolting, huh?
Hands down. That's not even up for discussion. I think as I got older, I tried to play the part more. As a teenager, I think I kind of got myself together and tried to look more presentable. Well, just as a girl wanting to look
Yeah.
more presentable. But then when I got to the teenage years is when I would have to do the walk of shame because I would be cutting up and talking and passing notes and daddy wasn't about to have. That's the people just don't realize how blessed they are for your parent to not be standing at the front of the church and have a bird's eye view of you misbehaving. Because when your daddy's the preacher, and he looks out and you're misbehaving, he just stops preaching and he would go, "Lori Ann, go sit with your mother." And he wouldn't let me walk in the back of the church to go sit with her. I had to walk in the front of everybody and go
See,
sit with her.
everybody just don't understand and get that. I probably got called out like that. I don't remember having to walk um down the aisle and around to mama, but I sure did get some of the looks. Or can you remember when you're nodding off? Now I do remember this. You nodding off in the middle of the sermon and dad would bang the pulpit. You jump a foot
Yes.
high.
Yes. Or stomp and he would get real loud.
He would holler, wake you up. We couldn't even nap in church.
No. Or the pinch,
Yeah.
the
Ooh, the
infamous pinch, which that's a universal. Every mama has the pinch, to get your kids in line. Before I don't think kids learn to read or write in cursive, but back in the day, you learn to read and write in cursive in what, like fourth grade?
Yeah.
Something like that, back in the late 1900s. And I
a
can
minute now.
remember before I learned to read or write in cursive. Now, y'all have to understand, our mama makes notes for everything. Before she was retired, it wasn't nothing for her to make a note as to what time she needed to be at work. And she would put a sticky note on her bathroom mirror. Like if it was different from the norm. I mean, she is a note taker, still is a note taker. And, I had to do the walk of shame across the front of the church. And, I sat down beside her, and she was legit, like, taking sermon notes, but it was in cursive, and so I thought she was making herself a note to remind herself to beat me when we got home, because I had been cutting a rug that day. I'm telling you, I had been bad, but
And not
that's
only
not what
did
it is.
not only, before you read cursive, but then she would also write in the shorthand stuff that she would
And you couldn't
we
read
didn't know
that.
any couldn't read it. We didn't know what she was taking notes to remind herself of when we got home. But we can't
Can
beat up on mom too bad because I've done the same thing to my kids and treated them the same way as far as how they were supposed to be in church. We're supposed to be perfect because my youngest one, there's nothing for him to get to joking around about Sunday mornings and get the other 3 laughing about, "There's nothing worse than when mom got this close to your face and you had the Sunday morning coffee breath, mama's Sunday morning coffee breath in your face."
We well, in the typical preacher's kid rebellion era that I was in, I mean, didn't go to church the first 15 years of our marriage, and so, I mean, since I had kids at 12, my kids were older, but I'm kidding, I didn't have kids at 12, but by the time we started going to church, our kids were teenagers or almost teenagers. Our son, I don't think was quite a teenager, but Christina was, and she would God love her. If you know my daughter, you need to give her a hug because bless her heart, she literally went to bed one night and her parents were feral and she woke up the next day and they went to church. I mean, her whole world changed. And I can remember us being like, we're going to church tomorrow in the morning. And she'd be like, I'm not going. I'm like, oh, you're going. And she's like, I'm not going. She's like, you're going. And Sunday morning, get up, you're going to church. Anyway, it would turn into whatever you have on and however you look is how you're going to church because we're leaving in 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes to do something to yourself. And she would roll up out of her room in pajamas, and that's how she went to church. We would go to church, and she loves the Lord, and I don't even know if she remembers that now, but I always think about that when I see people just dragging their kids on up in the church. I'm like, well, at least they're not in pajamas. I mean, I did that. Because I went from not going to church to dragging my kids in pajamas. God love them.
So see, the moms that are listening, take heart. You're not the only one. There's been a whole 2 generations of us, putting on a perfection of what Sunday
A
mornings
show.
yeah, that we don't want everybody to see how our household is, you know? And let me tell you, my youngest one, he's a card to begin with, but now he could act out. I shouldn't say act out because he performed in church. That's a better word. He performed and
Mm.
had everybody in stitches. He was one, if he could get you laughing, that was it. And I'll never forget one Sunday morning, they did children's church. I don't know, or children's time, not really children's church, but when children all come down to the
Yeah,
altar
I
and they do
remember
this
doing
little
that.
Bible story. Well, they were doing the puppet ministry, the puppet show was going on. And you know how the heads go back. And I looked down the aisle at him and he's sitting up there on the steps of the pulpit area and he is like mimicking the puppet with his mouth and his head, and it's going back and forth. And I looked at him, and he wasn't paying me any mind. And then I looked, and there was Mr. Phil Cresswell up at the top, rolling. Now, and he would turn around and look at me and laugh, which only made me madder, and I'm sorry, because I should have been laughing myself. And the more he laughed, the more John William performed now. I'm just telling you. And what did I do? I mean, I literally was hanging out of the pew, giving the eye, shaking the finger, and he no more paid me attention. He put on a show. And people still talk about that. They think,
That
yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, isn't it funny? Like, in the moment, we're so mortified. And it's like when it's all said and done and the years have passed, that ends up being some of the greatest memories and stories that you tell is when they act out. Now, I
Because
don't know it. I wonder if our sweet mama talks about having to call us out in church or if she has found glory in that yet, but we were kind of bad. We didn't do
I
funny
don't know.
stuff. We were
I
just
don't
bad.
know. I don't know if she does. Yeah. We probably didn't do funny things like that, if I have to guess. But see, I don't know if it's from some of the idea of that. Okay. Let me proof. Yes, church is supposed to be serious and sacred, but have we made it so solemn that we forget to enjoy those, let people be people and kids be kids, you know? I mean, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. I know you have to teach them. You have to teach
you
them.
do.
But, have we made it to where it has to be this whole big "whoa" that we have forgotten to
Well,
enjoy it?
I think so. And I think some of these young mamas, I applaud them because I feel like they are getting some of that right. I
Mm,
know
yeah.
my little granddaughter, she's 3 and has her own sense of style, things that she thinks matches. And my daughter's just on the title end. She's like, if as long as she has on clothes, I don't care. And so she went to church one Sunday and she had on a black sequin skirt, a red sequin shirt. She had pink bows in her hair, and then she had on some rainbow little Choco looking shoes. I don't even Birkenstocky looking shoes, like little I don't know. And she sent me a picture of her and she was like, check her out today, you know? And I'm not gonna lie, I think I'd have been mortified way now I thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. I'm like, look at her go. But if I'm being honest, when Christina was that age, I would have never let her leave the house dressed like that. And I applaud Christina for doing that because she's not looking for the perfection.
It's good. That's good. 'Cause, I think was it was for so long, even through us, it was you had to wear your Sunday best. I
Mhm.
mean, it was you had to dress up. If you did, to come to church, you had to be decked out, on Sunday morning. Now, Sunday night, we could wear jeans or whatever, but you still had, but Sunday morning, that was the expectation. And I know that was a lot of the generation of the culture or whatever.
Yeah, because everybody did. Everybody
Everybody.
dressed
Yeah.
up on Sunday.
Yeah. And, it is funny how children are all different because, I have one daughter who didn't mind dressing up, and then, my other daughter, she was a lot like you. She didn't care. She did not care. I mean, she does now. It's different, but it was always a struggle. And I should have just been like Christina and just let her wear, if she wanted to wear shorts and a t-shirt, just let her wear shorts and a t-shirt. As long as we were there, as long as we were there.
Well, and
But
I'm gonna tell you, and Merida, if you force her to wear, I mean, she's liable to strip. And so, that's why Christina's like, as long as she has on clothes, we don't need her streaking through the church. So as long if she wants to wear sequins to church, let's just wear some sequins. We can wear a ball gown because we don't need a streaker running through the church.
so maybe this is where a lot of our issues and our hang up is from with the perfection, the whole performance, and the perfection is, just the idea of this is the way I don't want to say play church, but this is how we play church. This is how you do. And now maybe we have a generation that's shifting that they're getting it. That's not what church is about. That's not what,
Well, and
you
for me,
know.
it's across the board. I have these unrealistic expectations of how everything should be. Like, I am
Yeah.
the Clark Griswold. Do you like the Christmas Vacation movie?
It is the
And
best.
when him and Ellen are laying in the bed, and he's like, when have I ever done anything over the top? And she's like, birthdays, graduations,
Yeah.
weddings, whatever. That's kind of me because going into any situation, not that you've planned, but something I've planned to attend or do myself, I really have unrealistic expectations.
Yeah,
And
I do too.
so it's like I expect my people, and I did it with my kids. Like I expected my kids to look a certain way, act a certain way, fit the mold of the expectation I have in my brain. But can I please say it's an expectation that I've not shared with anyone else?
I think we all do that.
You know, like,
Yep,
I
I've
can
done
get
that.
mad because you're not keeping my schedule, and it's a
Mhm.
schedule that me and my brain have had that we've discussed and set on, and I've not shared it with you. But
Not
because
sure.
you're not keeping the invisible schedule, I am mad at you.
My kids used to laugh at me because and they still make fun of me. I'm not as bad as I used to do on it, but, like, it would they when we go on even if we went on a trip, it would be, "Mom, what's the schedule for today?" Will the schedule allow us to go 1, 2, and 3? It's like, "Well, if I
Yeah.
didn't have a schedule, we never got anywhere." But I was so rigid that I forgot to have fun, which
Mhm.
leads me back and pops into our Christian walk, that sometimes we can be so rigid in how we think things are supposed to go in our relationship or how Christianity is supposed to go. We forget to have fun.
I mean, Jesus had fun. He went to a
Fun.
wedding,
I know, but
and
that's hard to
they
think about.
danced and partied, and they had a great time. And that wasn't the first wedding he'd been to, and I know it wasn't the last.
But
You know, I mean, think about it. Jesus partied, he had a good time.
yeah,
But
so we
sometimes I
distract.
have a stick up my butt and
It
I
comes back
don't.
to the expectation, I guess, and the idea of how things are supposed to go.
So
The joke all the time was, we talk about as preachers' kids and, or when you introduced yourself and somebody, "Oh, you're a preacher's daughter or preacher's kid." I've heard how they are, and we would always come back with, "Yeah, it's because we hung out with the deacons' kids."
exactly.
But we still got in trouble for whatever the deacons' kids did, even if we didn't even do it.
Well, if I'm just gonna be honest and we're gonna lay it out, I probably was the one that came up with the idea. Probably really am the one who led them astray. But I had
It didn't take much.
fun. I had fun.
Okay, so you were
And
the one that, yeah, the rigid wasn't there. It was already we were just enjoying life, huh?
I saw a shirt the other day and I was like, okay, I need that. And we probably need to put it on our website. But it said it took a lot of trauma to make me this funny. And I'm like, that's a great way to look at it because out of all the things we've ever been through, it's given us a great perspective on life.
That's
So
true.
if
That's true.
you're worried you're messing your kids up, it's okay. I mean, you're giving them a great perspective on life.
That's right. Hey, look at us. Take it from us. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah. Yeah. If they don't turn out like us, you're doing well. I mean, you can use us as your measuring stick. But isn't the difference that for me, I guess I can't speak for you, but for me, I think one of the differences is coming into a place where I don't hate that we were preachers' kids. I'm not
No,
mad
no.
about it. And looking back, think I wouldn't be who I am today if it would have been different.
True. True. Yeah.
You
We
know,
wouldn't have the stories.
we wouldn't have the stories and I mean, our parents, God love them, the crowns they're going to have in heaven for raising us, and I think that the preachers' kids today are just so different. I think that the expectations are different for them and it could be harder on them. I don't know, but I think there's more acceptance for them to have the space to grow and mature and make mistakes. And that wasn't the case in the 80s. Cuz in the 80s we were the mark, like other parents used us as the mark,
Yeah.
the measuring stick.
Because I can remember one time, I don't know what I did. I really don't. I was a teenager. I really don't know what I did, to be honest with you. But whatever it was something that everybody else was doing, And so it was like the whole conversation was, well, you're supposed to be the example because you're the preacher's, kid. You're supposed to be the example. And Mustang's like, I am so sick and tired of being the example. Why do I have to be the example? Why can't all these other ones be the example? Why do I? I'm tired of being the example. So, I guess that's a little tidbit for anybody listening. If you have some expectations for your preacher's kids, that they are the example, give them a little grace there.
But isn't that also, if I correlate that and we get spiritual for just a second, like our Father expects us, our Father has called us to be an example for others, to be the light. And our Father, created us when we become followers to be set apart and to be different, but yet we're continually trying to be like the world.
World. Which then goes back to like our podcast last week. How do we know what's supposed to be different instead of it being expectations, which comes back to that relationship and knowing
Because I
what's
knew, I
expected.
knew. I'm gonna tell you, on Sundays when I was acting a fool, I knew just by the way that Daddy was looking. I knew
Mhm.
about how much more I could push it. I knew when to stop, and you know what I'm saying? Because I knew my dad. I knew my father, and I knew my boundary.
Mm.
Now, me being me, we often blew through it like a bull in a china shop, and then I had to do the walk of shame. But isn't that the same thing? Is it's because I knew him?
Well, that's a good
And
point.
maybe part of our issue is we're trying to live up to an not that God has expectations, I don't mean it that way, but we're trying to figure out our Christian walk without knowing our Father.
Good point. And just
Because
doing
we're
it according to someone else, what we see going around. Because that's what I do. I see what everybody else is doing, like in their Christian, as far as perspective of the church or whatever. So therefore, that's what I try to mimic is whatever
Mhm.
I'm seeing is that, well, okay, well, that's how it's supposed to be. So that's what I'm doing instead of mimicking what God says that's supposed to look like. So,
Exactly. Because it's easier to, well, I'm just going to do what they do, but
yeah,
we don't know anything going on in their life. We're trying to, I saw something not too long ago that was like, you're trying to impress people that crucified Christ,
mm,
and I thought, well, that's pretty true because here I am trying to mimic and mold my life to resemble someone else because guess what? I've put them on a pedestal and I've put this person in a glass house. So I'm trying to mimic the way they're living their life when I have no clue what's going on behind closed doors.
the exact same thing that we have fussed about that we felt like we've been doing to other people
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
Yeah. That's exactly
So
what I do.
interesting.
I don't know, maybe you don't do that, but I mean, I will own it. That's what I do. I will put somebody on a pedestal, and then I get mad that they don't live up to my expectation, and then I don't like
Yeah.
them anymore.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do that too. Yeah. I think if we're all honest, we all do that. So I don't know. What's the lesson for us today?
Oh, there is no lesson. When are you gonna learn? There is no lesson in my life. There is nothing but great stories and memories, and isn't it fun, though? I think have we not reached an age where we get to look back on our lives and instead of it being, "Oh gosh, that was terrible," or whatever, we can laugh about it?
I laugh about it now. Yeah.
Isn't that sweet? Because I wouldn't take anything for any now, I'm not saying that I would like to go back and my mama pinch me. Because what is up with a mama's pinch? I'm telling you, they can get to
Teased it.
your bone.
I did that to one of my, maybe it was John William again. I don't know. They all got pinched. Don't get me wrong. But there was one of them I pinched, and literally in the middle of the sermon, they hollered, "Oh, you pinched me."
And it makes you wanna be like, "Yes, because you're" See, because we didn't go to church when my kids were, like, little, they don't have those kinda stories. So,
Stories.
They don't have the church stories from when they were little, but
I guess you could ask my kids. They could probably fill you in on a lot. So, but overall, see, none of us have it together. None of us did it right. So if you're a young parent out there, just,
you're showing up. If your kids
yeah,
go to
that's
church
all.
in pajamas, it's okay.
It's okay. It's
And if they've
okay.
got chocolate smeared across their face, it's
It's
okay.
okay.
It's all going to be okay. It's
And
just church.
if we're the older generation now that sees that mama dragging that child in who's kicking and screaming and in their pajamas and
Go
all,
help her.
that's right. Go help. No judgment. Just say I've been there. Just tell them, you know what? I walked in your shoes. It's okay. It's okay. You're here.
I will tell you that when Gabe was probably 2, I guess it was, he was cutting a rug in a grocery store. And I just thought, I'm going to lose my mind. And so I put him in this old couple's buggy and acted like I was gonna walk off. And that sweet man looked at me and that I was like, y'all can have him. I'm like, he's acting a fool today. I cannot do this anymore. Y'all can have him. I would have not left my child with strangers. I was hoping to scare him, but my son is like me and that did not faze him in the slightest. But I will never forget that sweet couple stood there and talked to me and they were like, honey, I promise you, it gets better. And so, if that's anything I could say to any young mama listening today, it does get better.
Let's get
It's
better.
just a season and it's going to get better. And you don't, you never arrive, you just level up. Just like playing a video game, you
Yep.
never have it figured out. You just
Yep.
level up because my children are both adults. I still don't have it figured out. I'm like way further in the game. I'm just way more levels than you. And so my piece of advice would be just enjoy it. Just if you have to stop and just laugh and discipline where you got to discipline. I know you have to, but just smile because time is fleeting. It's a vapor. It is. And you're going to turn around and you're going to be watching those kids with their kids.
All right, y'all, that's a wrap for today's episode. If something in this conversation encouraged you, challenged you, or just made you feel seen, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss what's coming next. And if you know someone who would love this episode, share it with them. Send it to a friend, drop it in a group chat, or post it on your story. That kind of support means the world to us. You always find every episode, updates, and more over at therecoveringpreacherskids.com. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll see you next time.